Recording in progress.
Welcome into the 2025 UConn baseball preview. My name's Chris Jones, and today, 3 days out from the 2025 season, we'll talk about the position players. And joining us, Associate Head Coach Jeff Horgan. Jeff, thanks for doing this as always. I think this is the third or fourth year that we've done this, and people are clamoring for it. They're excited for some Hooksy baseball.
I'm excited, Jones. I think we've been doing this a little bit longer. I know my father looks forward to this every single year, and he's been asking me over the last couple of weeks, which is great. And I'm sure the rest of our Husky faithful are excited as well.
So we'll jump right in. Obviously, another successful season for you guys last year, extending your streak to six straight NCAA tournaments, and obviously winning the Norman Regional to get to the third Super Regional in program history and second in the last 3 years. So as we normally do this, we'll go kind of position by position group. We'll go catchers, infielders, and outfielders. So we will start with the backstops. You have three catchers
Yep.
this year. Matt Garbowski, obviously your returner, preseason all conference, second teamer last year. You have Gabby Tirado, who joins as a freshman, along with another freshman, Connor Lane. So just talk a little bit about that grouping for you guys.
Yeah, and it's also a trio of Connecticut kids right there, which is pretty cool. But just to start off with Garbo, and Garbo's, obviously he was nominated captain at the end of fall, which was an awesome honor for him. He's a great kid. He's a kid that puts in all the hard work, and he's dealt with some injuries at times, but he's a really tough kid. And last year I was really happy for him. He caught exceptionally well, and his bat is he's a clutch performer, a guy that can kind of spray the ball to all fields, and then occasionally he could drive a ball. And he's looking very good. Hit the ball really well this fall, and then catching wise, he does a great job of mentoring those young guys and getting them up to speed. Any successful team has to have depth at the catching position, and no better guy for them to learn under in Garbo. But he looks good and ready to go, and I'm excited for a big year from him. The other two guys, Connor Lane. Lane, comes as the Connecticut Gatorade Player of the Year, which is tremendous honor. He did both in high school, where he was pitching and catching, and obviously he hit really well. But I think in the fall, for every freshman, it's quite an adjustment, and you started to see him get more comfortable as that fall went on, and then the arm started to really show late in that fall. I think from pitching all spring, his arm was a little bit hanging. But we've been able to see that great catch and release behind the plate, and his bat has really come along. He's strong, hitting the ball to all fields, so he looks poised and ready to go. And then Gabby came to us again as a power hitting catcher, a guy from the left side of the plate. And anyone who's ever played at Elliott Ballpark knows that right field could be really good to you. Righties need to be able to hit the ball the other way, and lefties, it's okay to hook a few. But he's swinging the bat really well, and his catching has really progressed. He's done a nice job in this preseason of receiving our guys and blocking. And again, it looks like a really strong group that's always working hard every day.
We shift over to the infielders, and you've got experience coming back, a couple all-conference guys in Brian Padilla, along with the preseason Big East Player of the Year, Maddox Delana. But also, some experience with Tyler Minnick, who is one of the hottest hitters on the team towards the end of last season. Ryan Daniels returns after that hip injury last year, and that's paired with Rob Rispoli, a guy who didn't play last year, but will get an opportunity most likely this season. And you've got a couple newcomers, Jack LaRose, a freshman, and Grant MacArthur, a transfer out from California.
Yeah, I think every year in college sports, you're going to lose some key players. But the thing about this year, we have some really solid returners in all areas. Catching, infield play, and outfield. But to start with Brian Padilla, Padilla again, another guy who was named captain by his peers, and he's awesome. He's a joy to see every single day. He's always got a smile on his face. He's always cracking jokes, but he's a serious competitor. And he's a guy that has played short in a super regional. He's played second base in a super regional. He may play a little bit of third base this year. He's very versatile in terms of, where we can put him. He tells me he can play the outfield every single day. But he's a guy that you can really move around and give you super competitive at bats. I think every year his strikeout to walk ratio is right there 1-1, which really tells you how competitive the at bats you're giving. You're putting balls in play on the regular, and he goes through stretches where he can really carry an offense. And I'm really hoping that he has a big time year for us this year, and we're excited about it. Ryan Daniels, you mentioned, a guy that really tried to play through some injuries last year, and it just got to the point where he had to take care of some things, and it kind of stunk because he's an energy giver as well. He's a guy that can, it's a joy to see him at the ballpark, and he's also a really special player. But he's looking awesome. He's made some adjustments with his approach at the plate. Defensively, probably a second base guy, but again, has the versatility to move around if you need him to. But from the offensive side of things, I mean, he's looking awesome, able to hit the ball to all fields. He has power, he has speed, and he loves to run. There's some guys that can really run, and it's, base running doesn't come as natural to him. Ryan is a threat every time he gets on the bases, and we want him to bring that aspect every time we play. Maddox Delana, another guy that had an outstanding year, especially in Big East play last year for us. He carried that over and had a great summer. It's something that we love to see our guys going off and continue to get at bats. I think he hit over 300 in the NECBL. He was an all-star in that league, and he just kind of carried it into the fall as well. Just consistent ABs, and everyone knows he's a power threat. Hit 13 home runs for us last year. Big left-handed hitter, plays a really good first base. Can really pick it over there. So we're excited for some big things from him. And then Tyler Minnick, another one of those returners. I think people got to see he really started to get comfortable the last month and a half, and there were times where he helped carry our offense. He played exceptionally well. Played more in that DH role during that stretch. We expect him to play, third base this year. But again, he's an athlete. He's a guy that you can move around. But another right-handed stick that can really drive the ball. He's a force at the plate. Hit 9 home runs, and I think most of them came probably that last month and a half. And he hit big home runs. He hit home runs in the Big East tournament. He hit home runs in the regionals. So he's a guy that really likes that moment. He also had a great summer with Maddox, an NECBL All-Star down in Mystic, and we're excited for a big season from him. Rob Rispoli is a guy that ended up redshirting for us last year, but he's a guy that everyone should be kind of watching out for because he can really pick it. He can flat out play shortstop. He's quick. He's got arm strength. He plays with a real joy. His offense is really coming along. We've asked him to make some adjustments, and I think our pitchers would tell you he's an absolute pest in the batter's box, whether it's getting hit by pitches, working walks, hitting the ball the other way. And he's another speed guy that I think can bring that element. And then your two new guys, Grant MacArthur, a guy that came over to us from California, junior college. I think he went to Hawaii initially. He's a fun-loving guy, like a big guy that's as serious as you can be when you're in the batter's box. And I love those guys that you can have a conversation with, you could joke around with, but when he's in the batter's box, it's game time. And he's been having a tremendous winter season here. I think he's hitting close to 400. If you make a mistake, he's making you pay. He's also a guy that he'll take a walk if he has to take a walk and keep that line moving. He plays first base as well, so probably a DH first base option. He could play a little bit of third base. but we're really excited about that right-handed stick. And then Jack LaRose, a true freshman from Bishop Hendricken, left-handed stick. Just a really smart baseball player. Really impressed the staff. Really impressed his teammates over the fall with just his knowledge of the game. Has a great clock when he's in the infield. Plays a lot of third base, but again, you can move him around. And then a lefty batter, I think he led the fall in 3-2 counts. I mean, every time I look up, it's 7, 8 pitch, 10 pitch at bat. And, that helps mold an offense when you have guys that are very competitive and can wear out pitchers. It gets other guys pitches to hit. And he's looking really good as well.
Shifting out to the outfield, you only returned one outfielder, Caleb Spur, who had a great first year in Stores. You've got to replace Corey Morton, Jake Studley, and TC Simmons. But there's a lot of really intriguing names that we got to see throughout the fall and so far the preseason. Sam Biller, you have Aiden Doherty, Bo Root, Carter Groen, and Anthony Belisario, who can he's a versatile guy, similar to Doherty, that can kind of shift around. Just talk a little bit about that group.
Sure. We'll start with Caleb as the returner, and Caleb was outstanding for us last year. Got some spot starts early on, got some pinch hit opportunities, but really established himself as our center fielder. And I know Caleb as the competitor. He thinks he's a better hitter than what that average finished at the end of the year. And I believe that as well. I think he's a guy that can hit over 300, and not only hit well, I think he's going to provide that speed. He's another guy that had a great summer, went off to the NECBL. I think he stole close to 40 bags, in like 20 something games, so he's a game changer in terms of, his defense and what he can bring to the table on the bases. So that's comforting, knowing that you got a guy that can really play center field back. I know it's a lot of new faces out there, but having that center fielder is really important. Sam Biller transferred over, and he's a left-handed stick. And the one thing that I really appreciate about Sam is he shows up every single day. He shows up every single rep. And if you're a young guy in college baseball and you're watching the way he goes about his business, you can learn a lot. And, whether he's having a good day or bad day, he's putting forth the best effort possible. And he's a guy with a lot of different skill sets. I mean, he can lay down a bunt for a hit. He hit 12 home runs last year. He stole over 20 bases last year. He's an outstanding outfielder that, we're either going to put in left or right. We're going to move around. He can play center field, obviously. But he's going to be a real spark plug in terms of what he can do offensively and defensively. Aiden Doherty, guy you mentioned that we can kind of move around. He could play a little bit of infield if he had to. We've been mostly focusing on his outfield play right now, but Aiden's call is he can really hit, and he's really calm in the box, and he's a frustrating at bat for a pitcher. He takes the ball the other way really well, and he comes in having a lot of success in junior college and also in the summer. And I'm really excited to see what he could do. He's a right-handed hitter, and he's been really good for us. Carter Groen is another those transfers that came in from Iona. A lot of power, a lot of great tools. Had a very good year for them last year. Had a great summer as well. And he's got a big arm in the outfield. He's made some really nice adjustments at the plate. And he really finished the fall on a great note in terms of his consistency. And you'll see it. You watch the kid take BP, the ball's going to really jump off his bat. So he's a guy that can be a real force when he's in that lineup. Bo Root, when you're talking about having variety and having balance in your lineup, you got a lefty there that can be an absolute pest. He can slap the ball. He can also turn on a pitch. He's got a lot of speed. Probably a corner guy for us in the outfield, but he brings a great energy to the game. And this fall, I mean, literally, you get to 2 strikes on him, he'll chop one, and he's beating it out. So he's a great threat when it comes to being in the batter's box. And then Anthony Belisario, he's a kid that has made some great gains. Had to play a lot of infield in the fall, and we've kind of transitioned and got him in the outfield a little bit more during this time. But he can play anywhere. I mean, he really can, and he did a great job during our winter live at bats. You know, hit the ball really well, took some really great at bats, and he's going to just provide that utility type of player that I think every team needs. There's going to be injuries throughout the course of the year, and having guys like that is really important to have.
Unfortunately, not going to be full strength going into that first weekend. Tyler Minnick, I think about 2 weeks ago on the cages during lives, unfortunately just got hit by a
Yeah,
pitch in the face. What does that do in terms? Obviously, you said, hey, third base wise, what does that do in terms of opening weekend? It does sound like could potentially have him back that second or third weekend. So, what does that do for you in terms of shifting that infield around?
sure, sure. I mean, again, you never want to lose a guy to an injury, but injuries are part of it. And I think every year, I mean, last year we started off without Luke, we started off without Brian the first 2 weekends, but those are opportunities for other guys, and I think in the long run, it helps you as a team. It really does. It gives other guys opportunities to get out there and get experience. I'd have to say that we can shift Brian over to third base. In the meantime, we can have, Rob, as I said, who's an exceptional shortstop, get in there and really show people what he can do. So again, it's unfortunate to lose a player like that. That's outstanding. But he's chomping at the bit, and I know he's going to be back sooner than later. But again, I think that's just opportunity for our team to continue to grow, and we'll be ready to go.
How do you see this offense? I know we go into these preview shows and it seems like it's kind of a similar thing where we talk about how versatile this offense is, but how do you see this offense? Is it a running offense? Are you going to be stealing a lot of bases? Is it a doubles team, a home run hitting team? Kind of how do you envision this lineup going in 2025?
Sure. I think you could probably look back at all the videos we've done together, and people could be like, well, he says the same thing over and over again. And they're probably right to a degree. I mean, I think we take a lot of pride as an offense in trying to be as balanced as possible. And some years you have a little more power, some years you have a little more contact, some years you have a little more speed. Um, but I really think this group is going to give you that great combination of a little bit of everything. And I think what we really want is to utilize our speed. We from top to bottom, I think there's guys that can go first to third. There's guys that can steal a bag, and I think that just puts more pressure on opponents to make pitches. And we always preach to our guys, if we're causing chaos on the bases, if we're giving tough at bats and we're laying off of pitches, we're spoiling tough pitches, we're going to get more pitches to hit, and those are when you hit your doubles and your home runs. So I feel this team has a great blend of righties and lefties. It has a great blend of contact hitters, guys that can drive the baseball, and then, as we said, speed. So my goal every year is to have as much balance as possible. So whatever the test is, we have a way to beat you. But I would say this year we're going to rely on that speed, and we're going to rely on that toughness in the batter's box to put more balls in play and apply pressure on the defense.
Awesome. Great stuff as always, Jay Ho. We really appreciate it. Good luck in Puerto Rico this weekend.
Thanks, Jonesy.